a lot and still made the playoffs. What a weird year. Anyways, we're not here to talk about playoffs. We're here to talk about puffs. Pumpkin spice puffs in particular. Oh boy, there it is.
Right.
That's Lori Frederick, by the way. She's not the star right now of this video. She is the supporting character.
Yeah.
And that right there is a State Fair pumpkin spice cream puff. That's right, everybody. And Lori's going to try one, and I'm going to try one. Kind of gave in this cute little box.
Yeah, they did come in cute little boxes.
Yeah, and you were smart and got a plate ahead of time. I did not. So that was ill-advised on my... So here we go. I'm going to just put it on top of here.
Yeah.
So this, everyone, is what a pumpkin spice cream puff looks like, everybody. Mm-hmm. And Lori, what is your stance on the cream puff? Because you know what, I've actually heard a lot of cream puff slander on the social media lately. People have been very proudly proclaiming that they are above the cream puff. How do you stand on the cream puff?
I think I like cream puffs. I like the fact that I really like the pâte choux dough that they're made with. I think if it's done right, it's a little crisp on the outside and kind of eggy and delicious, tender on the inside. And I typically like the cream, like for the State Fair cream puffs, because it's sweet enough and full of just enough vanilla to kind of make it delicious. It's always maybe a little too much cream, like they're kind of messy.
No such thing.
But
the cream puff.
But I like them because they're not like overly sweet, but they feel indulgent and fluffy, and they're also really notoriously hard to eat. So like,
yeah, how are you gonna attack this cream puff today? Do you have a strategy for how you normally go about the puff?
I do, and I'll kind of pick it up and show you. So I found like the best way, and I think there are numerous people who agree with me. That the best way to eat a cream puff is actually to disassemble it a little bit.
Yeah.
This is, of course, like the Oreo argument. Like, do you twist them apart? What do you do? For this, I do twist it apart a lot like an Oreo cookie.
Do you have to twist it apart, or can you just lift the top off?
You can lift the top off, but I like to make sure that there's like an equal amount of cream.
Yeah. So it's interesting because my approach is similar to that. But I don't do the twist off. See, what I do is I take the top off, and then I use it as like a scoop for the cream.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a big tasty spoon.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now that we've disassembled this,
like the next step though is to smell it. Because, normally
very pumpkin spicy.
Kind of a waft of vanilla, but this is like the minute I moved it, it smells like
pumpkin spice,
like cinnamon and pumpkin, and
it smells of fall and Starbucks,
and wet leaves.
Yeah, and we've gone over the PSL and kind of our thoughts on pumpkin spice because we think a little bit that it's gone over the. It's jumped the shark a little bit because it feels like there's like 45 million products that do pumpkin spice, which is fine. But the problem is a lot of times they don't actually bother making it taste like pumpkin spice. They just color it orange and I don't know, walk it past some nutmeg.
Yeah. And it will be like kind of vaguely spicy, but not necessarily in a pronounced way. It's like just putting pumpkin spice or pumpkin spice latte on the side of something somehow makes it pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, my spoon fell apart.
And just prove up things when they do that.
We've talked long enough, Lori. I think it's time for us to shove a puff into our face.
Yeah.
All right, so shall we?
Yes. Oh.
There's pumpkin spice there. This is not one of the crappy, trendy pumpkin spice things. I taste pumpkin spice.
There's pumpkin.
Yeah.
It is like the fluffiest. It's like pumpkin French silk pie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with cream puff.
It's really good. I may actually I might say some heresy right here, and this may be just me. This may just be the cream puff talking here. I think I might like this more than the traditional cream puff.
I like it a lot right now. I don't know
Mhm.
that I'd want to eat this in the heat of August.
Well, yeah, because it's pumpkin spice. No one wants pumpkin spice in the middle of summer.
But this is very like seasonally, like right now. This reminds me that of all the good things about the fall.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving is coming. I don't know that the leaves might turn beautiful colors in fall soon. Um,
Lori, I think I do like this more than the traditional cream puff. I mean that fully seriously. Because I think one of the issues I think some people have with the cream puff is that there's not enough flavoring in the cream. That
with,
it tastes very milk dairy like.
it is.
It's not sweetened that much. And
Which is
this,
definitely part of what I find to be. I think this is about the same sweetness as a regular cream puff, but
it's more flavor.
the other flavors there, I think
Mhm.
that sweetness is kind of underscored and
Yeah.
boosted. One of the things I always like about a cream puff is that it's not overly sweet. And no, it's not like super exciting, but it harkens back to that really simple, like if you can't taste the dairy in a regular cream puff, or the dairy is not good enough to have a great flavor, that's a shame, in and of itself. So I like the simplicity of that, but I
I
really
feel like I'm getting more flavor in this, and it makes me want to eat more of it. Because I feel like one of my issues with the cream puff, and this is all cream puffs in general, is that after the first few bites, I'm like, I've had everything I need. Like, I know what the cream tastes like. I know what the puff tastes like. Moving on. Whereas with this one, that pumpkin spice flavor makes it taste unique, makes me want to come back and have more of it. And when you add in, the soft puffy texture, it feels like this is disappearing faster than a usual cream puff that I would eat, I will say. Normally I reach like the halfway mark and I'm like, I've had everything I need here. Whereas like I'm gonna destroy this, Lori.
yeah. I think I tend to agree. And it's not overly sweet, so I think you can actually eat the whole thing. It's not cloyingly sweet.
Yeah, it's not sickly. And it kind of reminds me, you said French silk pie. It kind of reminds me of the lightest, fluffiest pumpkin pie.
Yeah, that's why like if French silk, which is normally chocolate, were in pumpkin form and super, super airy as whipping cream.
Yeah. We do have a comment from Lisa Coons. Does it still have powdered sugar on it? I think so, yeah. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a ton of powdered sugar.
Keep in mind, these were delivered to my house at about 10:30. So, and I could have powdered sugared them. But if you don't do that, the powdered sugar has a tendency to settle into the top of the cream puff. So these definitely came with powdered sugar. This amount as would normally be on a cream puff. So if you go and pick them up, which I believe you can do starting tomorrow.
Yeah, because Tanya Niskis, pardon me if I mispronounce anyone's name. Thank you for the comment. Thanks for watching. She says jealous, which honestly, now that I'm eating it, yeah, you all should be jealous. Yeah. But you won't have to be jealous for long because this should be on sale starting tomorrow. Correct, Lori? Do we have the times and listings for that?
I do believe so. I might have to look up the times and listings. I got it.
Yeah. Here, Lori, wax poetic about these cream puffs while I find our article about how you can get these.
No, that sounds great. No, I'm really approving of these. So anyway, but yes, they did have the sufficient amount of powdered sugar on the top, which is enough to just sort of give it that extra little zing of sweet, but not so much that they're overpowered. They also have held up really well. So you can be assured that if you go and pick them up at an assigned time, these are in my fridge for probably 3 hours.
Yeah.
They still taste pretty great and pretty fresh.
Because that is the great debate of pandemic dining is that, we all want to support places, but it sucks when you pick something up or get it delivered and then it's not as good. Like that's my big chicken wing problem. I love chicken wings, but there's very few places I find that I can like get chicken wings, bring them back home, and they still have the integrity of the wing.
Well, actually, I think chicken wings, though, transport better than some other things, as long as they're not the fried crispy ones that you need to keep fried and crispy.
But that's what I like. I like kind of a dry rub wing as opposed to like a saucy wing.
Yes, and dry rub wings I think hold up better than the saucy wings because the saucy wings get.
Yeah. Well, for those wondering how they can get their own pumpkin spice cream puff, or as we are lovingly calling it, the PSL puff, they will be on sale beginning tomorrow, October 1st through Sunday, October 4th at the via curbside pickup at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. 3 of them cost $12. 6 of them cost $22. Now that I've had it, I'm going to probably say that you're going to want the 6. And they're really good. And they highly recommend that you pre-order your puffs because, as with all things cream puff, they're probably going to go fast.
Yes, they'll probably sell. And I will tell you, like, based on what I know and how these were delivered to me, they're going to come in these cute little boxes. And they're packed in such a way, which makes total sense, where they're slid in. So the box would normally be upright like this, but slid into the box sideways. So don't take your boxes, which then once they're closed, don't put them upright. Like keep them sideways because then it's not going to jostle around and get all mutilated. Then you can just open it up. And what I did this morning, because I took a couple of pictures of these.
Yeah, because you're going to want to gram this. You're going to want to throw this on the gram.
And when I took my pictures off the plate, I took like just a thin spatula, tucked it under the cream puff, and slid it out onto the plate, and it was perfect. Because trying to grab it with your fingers, these are really delicate because it's really, 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 really fluffy.
Yeah.
And you will smash it, and it goes out the side. It won't look great. So,
Lori, I feel really bad because while you've been talking, I've just been finding extra cream left in the container or on the container, as you can see. And I'm just like a monkey picking stuff off, where I'm just like finding more cream to eat.
The PSL monkey?
It's really, really addictive.
These are good. And the spice, I really like the fact that the spices are present, but they're not overpowering. Like you're not eat this and go, oh my gosh, that's so much clove, or that's.
Well, and it's discernibly spices too. Like sometimes PSL is just vague fall flavor. Mm-hmm. Like there's no like discernible cinnamon, there's no discernible nutmeg, there's no discernible clove or anything. It's just kind of like, it's kind of like how Taco Bell doesn't really have flavor. It just tastes like Taco Bell. Pumpkin spice can sometimes
things taste exactly the same.
Yeah, like pumpkin spice can sometimes just taste like pumpkin spice. This vague fall flavor that we've all agreed on. Whereas this, and you have a better palate than I feel like I can actually taste the spices in this. I can taste the different kind of flavors in here instead of it just being fall.
Yes. And they're really well balanced. So it's not like there's a ton of nutmeg and it overpowers, or a ton of, ginger or cinnamon.
Yeah.
It's like this really smooth, like, I don't know, pumpkin pie spices.
Yeah. Now, the follow-up question to all of this, I think, is this the start of unique cream puff flavors? Is this just a one-off, crazy pandemic times, let's make a little extra money and make a pumpkin spice puff? Or are we going to see more funky flavors from State Fair? And if we do, what are we going to see? That's what I think is most exciting.
We're wishing for more cream puffs, like cream puffs all year.
And I think if you mix up the flavors, I think people might return to their love of cream puffs, because I think people have, had the classic. I mean, people love the classic cream puff, but some people do, like we've talked about, they want a little bit sweeter. People want a little bit, a different flavor for their puff. So maybe this opens the door for some funky flavors. I'm into it.
And I would definitely say, this cream puff is probably going to be somewhat as polarizing as the regular cream puff.
Really?
That not everyone loves.
I think people are going to really like this. I think this is...
But this is very solidly pumpkin spice. And so in the same way that the regular cream puff is appealing or not appealing based on how you stand on whipping cream.
But I don't think people dislike pumpkin spice. I think they dislike the craze of pumpkin spice.
I think I know a lot of people who do not like pumpkin things. Like pumpkin pie, pumpkin...
Well, Laura, you got to get better friends.
I like all of those things. I'm just saying, like, if you don't appreciate that, this is probably not going to appeal to you. But if you appreciate that,
yeah, if you don't like pumpkin spice, don't get the pumpkin spice puff.
I mean, which seems really obvious, but it's not like. I mean, I would say I am a big fan of try anything once. So maybe even if you don't like pumpkin spice, this is probably one of the best pumpkin spice things that I've tried.
Wow. Look at you. And as we learned from yesterday's FoodCrush Live, tasting Stenny's dill pickle pizza, which is still available for today. Today's the last day. But as we learned yesterday, try everything once. I hate pickles, but I really liked the dill pickle pizza and ate a considerable amount of it. So if you're not a pumpkin spice person, maybe this will take you to the PSL side,
It's always possible. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel bad because this is not a pumpkin spice latte cream puff, even though we keep calling it the PSL puff. This is pumpkin spice. There's no coffee flavor in this. It does not taste like Starbucks.
Thank goodness.
No. So yeah, thank God. But I just really like saying PSL puff. It rolls off the tongue nice.
It does. But
so yeah, I think this is a winner.
It'd be amazing though with a cup of coffee beside it.
Ooh, yeah, like a nice hot cup of coffee.
A nice hot cup of coffee.
A nice hot cup of Joe.
If you presume, but yeah, and it's not so sweet, honestly. And I mean, this is an abomination, but I would totally eat this for breakfast.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll eat anything for breakfast. I mean, I had potato chips for breakfast today, so it's not like I'm picky about what I'm eating for breakfast.
This would be no worse than eating a donut for breakfast, in my mind.
Probably better, I would think.
Well,
because the donuts are fattier, I would imagine, or thicker.
No, I'm pretty sure all of this cream. Right.
I did kind of overlook the cream part. I guess that is. Well,
I mean, the puff itself has like a good amount of egg in it.
This is true. That's protein. That's protein, Lori. Protein's good. Helps start the day right.
Yeah.
Well, would you like to tell people about what they should be watching, like FoodCrush wise, and what they should tune in for On Milwaukee, while I dive into cream puff number 2. Sorry, anyone else who wanted a cream puff from me. I'm eating them both.
Yeah, there we go. Well, as for kind of moving forward, we do have a new FoodCrush podcast episode coming out tonight, and you can hear us. We'll be talking with the owners of Sorella, which is the newest restaurant, I think, in Bayview. And Sorella is kind of an Italian concept, but it was inspired by a lot of Italian American dishes that originated or are popular in New Jersey, which is where the owners, Kyle Toner. I'm sorry, I'm watching you. I cannot keep a straight face.
I'm having fun.
Puff, moving along the screen.
Now I'm just having fun.
So
you can't not have fun with a cream puff.
Look forward to that. Kyle Toner and Paul DeMora are coming on to talk about Sorella. The episode will definitely give you more insights on like where that concept started. And a lot of kind of fun facts that you probably don't know about some of the dishes. So that's pretty cool. We also have Dining Month launching tomorrow. So it's a really nice little precursor to Dining Month because you will find all sorts of delicious food-based content at On Milwaukee all month long. You can check out the site now because I do have a letter up. We are doing Dining Month a little bit different this year.
Yes.
Normally, we would start dining month with a readers poll.
Yeah, normally we would have pestered people about 2 or 3 weeks ago about our dining month poll. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Yes, and we would have you all vote for your favorites in like typically over 50 categories, and you would pick your best favorite new restaurants and best burgers and all of those things. Now we made a very strategic decision not to do that this year, and it is actually out of respect for all of the great restaurants throughout the city, because they really like COVID-19 has been a serious thing for them and has really, 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 I would venture a guess that this 2020 will go down as the roughest year for restaurants in history, and I mean, I'm sure like way back in the early 1900s, the Spanish flu probably affected restaurants, though. But
I feel really bad that you're like talking very seriously about the state of restaurants while I have just cream puff all over my face. I'm going to wipe this off quick. Please continue.
So, anyway, out of respect for restaurants, we really didn't think that it was a great idea to pit them against one another, even in a friendly competition. What we want for the city is not to like pick favorites, not to make people vie for votes. We just want to support all the restaurants in the city, make sure that they, have the support that they need to make it through COVID, so that we can come out on the other side and have the amazing food scene again that we had before all of this started.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with not picking per se, but like talking about places that are our favorites right now, because we're going to be doing that during some of dining month. We're going to talk about places that we really are enjoying during dining month and places that we really highly recommend. But it is that idea of pitting places against one another. That's the idea of people choosing one place over another. That's what we're not trying to inspire. We want to inspire people to try everything, anything, find favorites, talk about food they love. We don't want it to be about defeating other restaurants or ranking places above or below others. That's a bad
survey. There's often a few restaurants that get a lot of attention and a lot of votes, and we want to just ideally spread that love around.
Yeah. I mean, we've had an article on the back burner since March comparing Garibaldi's wings to Point East Pub's wings. And we have not posted yet because it just seems like poor form to pit two places against one another and be like, this place is great and the other place is not as great. Like that's not helpful right now. And pitting places against one another is not what we're trying to do. Right. So stay tuned for that article at some point when things get normal. But now is not the time for that.
Taste test.
Yeah.
Right before COVID-19 hit, like right before.
I want to say like the day before.
Like the day before everything shut down. Yeah, we were still out doing our jobs and tasting things, and and there were definitely
a restaurant. Do you remember what that was like, Lori? Eating at a restaurant indoors,
and let alone eating in a bar.
Yeah,
that had plenty of people in it at the time.
With other people.
With other people, I know.
We didn't even know what masks were.
A nutty thing to think about right now.
We didn't even know what COVID-19 meant. It was just a weird combination of letters. That's not true. We were learning things.
We were.
Yeah.
But, and the real thing is, I think the real goal of this is that we want to keep places around. We want the new places that have opened. We've had a remarkable number of openings over the past year, like since last October. There's been there's been 55 openings since last October, and probably a good half of them have opened since March 15th, which is kind of my gauge for when it kind of hit the city. That's pretty impressive because around 55 restaurants is a good average for a year of what I normally report. I think a couple of years ago when we had the big boom, I reported somewhere between 75 and 100 restaurants. But on an average year, it's somewhere between 50 and 60 restaurants that open. And so this year was a pretty extraordinary year in the sense that places still opened. There are still places on the docket to open. But the trick is they're not opening with all the fanfare. You can't have a big opening celebration. You can't load a bunch of people into your dining room.
Yeah, one of my favorite new restaurants, Sweet Basil. I've never been inside of it yet. I have not been able to step foot in my favorite new restaurant in Milwaukee because they opened in the middle of COVID. So all I've known is the outside of their restaurant with signs saying, like, call this number to let us know that you're here so we can give you our order, which I really want Sweet Basil now. Damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is a Lao restaurant.
It's a Lao restaurant. It's a
right on the kind of the border between Milwaukee and Franklin.
Next to a Papa Murphy's. Highly recommend doing Sweet Basil over Papa Murphy's. No offense to Papa Murphy's, but can I? This is totally off topic. This is a wild tangent. But I really am annoyed by Papa Murphy's. What is the point of a pizza place if they're not going to finish making the pizza?
Okay. There's some really good points to that. And this gets down to, I think we talked about this with the dill pickle pizza, that a pizza is the best when it's fresh. And so the ideal pizza, and I don't think this is controversial at all, the ideal pizza is one that's made in a restaurant where they bring it to your table and you eat it right away.
Yes.
Any kind of carry-out pizza after it's been baked is going to suffer a little. There's things you can do about that. I actually have a whole article about all the tricks you can use to make your pizza better.
That sounds like a plug.
Well, it is. I mean, it is. It's been out there. It's like the one thing you don't know, the one biggest thing you don't know about carry-out pizza is that you should not order it cut. You should cut it at, like, everybody should just have, like, and you can cut it with a knife, you can cut it with a scissors, you can cut it with a pizza cutter, but leave it uncut. And the reason for that is, especially like if you like the crackery thin crust, that Milwaukee style, like kind of bar style pizza, that crust is going to absorb all sorts of sauce that creeps in between the cuts in that box. And it's all the steam that goes in the box. That crust is going to get soggier by the time you get it home than it would if you don't have it cut.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you just simply cut it at home. Your crust will be crisper. It also won't cool off as fast because you have less surface area that's exposed to the air when it's not cut.
Okay. So be like the gems in a recent Adam Sandler movie and be uncut. Uncut gems.
Yes.
Yeah. Your pizza needs to be uncut. No cuts.
Yeah. And if you really want to go above and beyond, you should heat up your oven to like 450 and preheat it and shove that pizza into it for literally like 3 minutes when you get it home. Just slide it in and then slide it back out, cut it up and eat it. And that is the closest you will ever get to fresh tasting pizza as carry out or delivery.
It still annoys me that Papa Murphy's doesn't finish making my pizza.
So anyway, so
the like if I went to a taco place and they just gave me the ingredients for tacos separated, and then they're like, I don't know, make it yourself. Like, finish the job. I say, finish the job, Papa Murphy's.
Yeah,
that and small plates. These are my thoughts.
When you put in the effort to make it yourself from Papa Murphy's. So Papa Murphy's is not a bad idea.
I think it's a lame idea. But you know what? Papa Murphy's employing people, keep doing that. And if you like, I mean, the pizza's good. I just wish they actually finished making pizza. But anyways, you can stay tuned for more debates like this and for more insights from Lori during Dining Month starting tomorrow on onmilwaukee.com. We're going to have a bunch of fun articles. We may not be doing the dining poll this year, but we are going to have so much awesome dining content, so much tasty food content for you to dig into. And speaking of digging into things, I'm going to finish up this pumpkin spice puff. But do you have any final statements, Lori?
Well, one of the things we can look forward to is what also took a hiatus in the meantime between, let's see, March and now, was every year I do my 52 restaurants for your bucket list, which is my personal list of the places around the city from the past year that are just like excellent, that you should make sure to try. They all, and it runs the gamut from like little teeny, more affordable places to kind of higher end places and everything in between. I've revamped that for Dining Month because a few places unfortunately have closed on that. And but we're gonna be doing some things with that list. I'm gonna feature one restaurant from that list almost every day during the month and probably slightly beyond. So you can look forward to that. I mean, these are all great places. And if you want to add some variety to your carryout or the meals that you're eating in a given week, definitely have some ideas there. So
yeah, and if you want variety in your cream puff,
yeah,
make sure you get. Oh my gosh, make sure you get a pumpkin spice cream puff this weekend. Remember, Thursday through Sunday. The specific times are in the comments. They're also in the article on milwaukee.com. You can find that in the comments as well. And Lori, I've eaten 2 cream puffs, so I'm gonna go for a run, or do a sit up or something, just something exercise related.
That's probably a good idea. So you're not getting the sugar dump where you're ready.
Oh, that's already begun. I'm gonna take a big old nap after I do my 1 push up.
All right.
But thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you in Dining Month. Thank you to Lori, and thank you to State Fair for the delicious cream puffs. Remember, pumpkin spice puffs. They real tasty. That is our verdict. We will see you all later.